On today's show, we discuss why Luke Altmyer is a much better man than me.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On, where I continue to provide you coverage each and every day for absolutely no cost to you. But if you feel nice, I would appreciate it if you can hit that like button and make sure you are subscribed. We're getting so close to 3,500 subs on YouTube. And I haven't even mentioned the audio side. Guys, we are breaking records each day and every week on the audio side compared to where we were at last year. So I'm so eternally grateful to all of you. Speaking of being grateful, I'm certainly grateful to the starting quarterback of the University of Illinois on Saturday. It's going to be Luke Altmyer, who I had a different story in mind with what I was going to lead off with on today's episode, but this news just kind of broke, where On3 released an article talking about Bret Bielema and Luke, but the article disclosed that not only did Luke Altmyer turn down seven-figure offers from other schools this past offseason, he turned down $2 million from the University of Tennessee. Now, we knew that number was going to be high. We knew Tennessee was going hard after Luke. I said it on this show, and I said it because all my Tennessee insiders were kind of hinting the same sort of thing. We know ultimately Luke decided to stay in Champaign, and he's essentially forever become a local legend. Hopefully when he comes back to campus in the near future, he's never going to have to buy a beer. But it speaks to what this Illinois team has become. The fact that he turned that money down without even coming back to Bret Bielema and asking for more money in return. And that's why in the second segment, you'll see me and Jacob Goins from Locked On Hoosiers. We're going to have a fun little thing going for the next couple of days where we're going to debate back and forth between Indiana and Illinois. Different topics each and every day. Today, we're going to be battling over who you would rather have as your head coach, Bret Bielema or Curt Cignetti. But I want to give Bret his love, because if you're going to turn down $2 million to go play elsewhere, that means you have to believe in where you're at today. And the only reason, or at least the main reason you would believe where you're at today, has to be Bret Bielema and the growth that he's had. We can rewind real quick. Bret Bielema was a star young coach at Wisconsin. He won 3 straight Big Ten titles. He produced NFL players running down the people's throats. Then he takes a shot at Arkansas and the SEC. And listen, it's a really difficult job. One of, I would say, the worst Power 4 job at the time. He did have some highs. He had a couple 25-win seasons. He's beaten ranked teams on the road, but also struggles came with that. And again, when you played in the toughest division in college football, maybe that was to be expected. But here's the thing. Bret didn't leave Arkansas bitter. He learned. He saw firsthand how the SEC arms race works, how important alignment between administration, boosters, recruiting, and development really is. And then after that, he didn't retire. He went and spent time in the NFL with Bill Belichick and the Patriots. That's like getting a PhD for football coaches. And now here at Illinois, you can see all the lessons he's learned put into practice. The old Bret Bielema could just recruit a bunch of big offensive linemen from the Midwest, run power football, and win. At Illinois, he knew that wasn't enough. He knew he had to tailor his strategy to this state, to this program. And that's why you see him recruiting the state of Illinois harder than any coach in recent memory. He knows that if you build a wall around Chicagoland, around St. Louis, and continue to lock in in-state talent, you can actually build a really solid foundation here. And it's working. Just look at the classes that keep coming in. Just look at the number 4-star kids choosing to stay home. Bret understands what it takes to win here. That's the key. And it's not just recruiting. Look at the loyalty he inspires. We're in an era where the coaches are bouncing for the biggest paycheck. Assistants are jumping ship every offseason. And yet at Illinois, you've got guys passing up major money at other institutions because they trust Bret's vision. Because they know this is more than a paycheck. This is about building something more sustainable and maximizing yourself. Same thing with the players. In the transfer portal era, it's rare to see a buy-in like this. Bret has guys sticking around, buying in, developing year after year, and that doesn't happen if they don't trust the man developing them. And here's why it matters. Illinois is not an easy job. It never has been. You have to be adaptable. You have to understand the culture of the state. You have to win recruiting battles locally and then supplement it with smart national recruiting. And Bret Bielema gets that. Illini fans, I say it all the time. It's a great time to be an Illini. We're very lucky. We have a coach who's not only won in the Big Ten, but who's evolved, who's humbled himself, who's come back sharper and hungrier than ever. And that's rare. So when we head into this game against the Indiana Hoosiers on Saturday, remember, absolutely, it's a huge game in the standings. It has lots of implications for what the possible potential college football playoff could look like. And yeah, whether we like it or not, it's going to be a sort of measuring stick against Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers. But it's also another showcase of how far this program has come. Because a few years ago, you'd go into a game like this wondering if Illinois had enough talent, if Illinois had enough toughness, if Illinois had enough belief. Under Bret Bielema, you don't wonder about those things anymore. You expect them to show up. You expect them to compete. And you know what? The foundation of this team is finally strong. I can speak from personal experience. Watching the Illini football team for as long as I have, I would go into weekends just hoping we wouldn't be blown out. I would watch my wife's alma mater, the Ohio State Buckeyes, just because I needed to watch what a good football team looks like. That doesn't need to happen anymore. Now, there's a feeling of optimism that never happened before Bret Bielema got here. Is he flawless? No, absolutely not. There's certain things that, of course, I wish Illinois was able to get more high-end type of players, or even though in the article they mentioned that Illinois is expected to pay about $15 million in NIL this year. Last year, remember, it was $5 million. So Illinois and the administration and just collectively, they are raising the bar and they understand what it takes to compete in the Big Ten Conference and to compete in the modern era of college football. But we're not quite at the levels of the elite. And I think ultimately we do want a chance, an opportunity to maybe one day play for a national championship. And it's crazy that I even throw that idea out there, because 5 years ago, I would have said the same words about just being a consistent 8-win team every single year. And now, knock on wood, it seems like that almost might be the floor. And I'll tell you, Bret Bielema is the reason why. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who's Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. Last week, I think the clear answer here is Luke Altmyer, just the way he took over, him, Barry Lenny Jr., the adjustments that they made in that second half. When you complete 11 passes in a row, and when you pass the ball to 8 different wide receivers, I think you clearly show that the performance wasn't a fluke, and Luke Altmyer now is officially on a streak. And just like Luke Altmyer delivered for the Illini, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however I like to bet. Sometimes I want to bet an over. Sometimes I want to bet a team total. Sometimes I want to bet on a player prop. Whatever I want to do, FanDuel will take care of it for me. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
It's a big week in college football, and no game bigger than Illinois and Indiana. I'm Jacob Goins, host of Locked On Hoosiers. He is Sonny Verma, host of Locked On Illini. And look, Sonny, these are two great teams, two programs on the rise, and they're led by two guys who are pretty good at what they do in the head coaching position, Bret Bielema and Curt Cignetti. And we pose the question, if you're starting a brand new P4 program today, which coach would be better long-term? That could be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, however we want to go about it. Who's the better coach, and who would you take, and who should others maybe take in this situation?
You're exactly right, Jacob. Again, these are two programs that historically may not be the cream of the crop, but the sudden resurgence has these fan bases going very excited. Let's put it that way. It's not just us noticing, it's the entire Big Ten community trying to figure out where all these Illini and Indiana Hoosiers fans come from. And I'm excited about this little segment. We're going to be doing it all week long just for fun. It's like a way for us to just kind of banter back and forth and do our own little trash talk. We will say that we're going to keep things somewhat respectful here. There's not going to be a declared winner. You guys are going to decide who the declared winner is. You're going to hear Jacob's argument. You're going to hear my argument, and let us know in the comment section who you think presents a better argument.
And so I'll lay it out. I mean, clearly for Curt Cignetti, a guy that hasn't been a head coach forever, right? He's not somebody that's been a head coach 20, 25, 30 years, but in the few years he has been a head coach, he's won everywhere he's been. He's done incredible work at James Madison of all places, and then of Indiana of all places. 33-6, Sonny, is Curt Cignetti's record as a head coach. And I picked Curt Cignetti, yes, because of Indiana, but man, he's doing it at Indiana, a place that historically is one of the worst FBS programs in college football. He got here to a program that had more losses than any other FBS program in the history of the sport. And look what he's already done. In less than a year and a half, he turned it completely around, took us to a college football playoff, and has a chance to do it again. He just demands so much from his program and his players and the people around the building. And that's what really stood out to me when he got hired and when he stepped in was, look, I don't care how it's been. We're not running that way anymore. We're not going to operate that way. He demanded more money. He demanded facility upgrades. He demanded better players, better NIL, and I think Indiana has benefited from it. And then an in-game coach, he has proven he can make adjustments. He has a great game plan, and he truly does get the most out of his players. So, look, I know Curt Cignetti's age is a concern, sure, but I don't think he's slowing down any time. I think Curt Cignetti is a perfect fit for Indiana, and I think it'd be a perfect fit for any program in the P4.
I hear your argument, and I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong, but I just think, unfortunately, Curt Cignetti right now is coming up against one guy who I think is just a superior version of Curt Cignetti. And I'm talking about, I'm looking at the length of their careers. And obviously, Curt has been successful at James Madison. But you know what? Bret Bielema started off his career as the youngest head coach, and he was winning Big Ten titles at Wisconsin. He's got a very long resume when it comes to success at the college football level. And now people will point out that it wasn't necessarily success at Arkansas, but that Arkansas division that he was playing in, you're talking about the likes of Saban, Alabama. Georgia was very good at the time, always tends to be very good. It was a tough situation. And quite honestly, he was good for about 2 seasons before the things kind of went off rail. But he took over a program at Illinois, similar to how you just described Indiana. Historically, sure, back in the days that we claimed championships in the 1950s, but in the modern era, Illinois has been just one bad coach after another. Bret Bielema not only wanted this job, he understood what it took to make this job attractive, in the sense where he came in, our previous head coach, to stop recruiting the state, period. Bret Bielema came in here. In his first couple of days, he made 1,000 phone calls to the local high school coaches in the state of Illinois, understanding that you got to build talent at Illinois from within. And that's what he's done. Every year he's raised the floor to this program. He knows at Illinois, you're not going to win by recruiting 4 or 5 stars. You need to find traits that you like in your recruits and coach them up. And when we talk about his assistant coaches, Bret Bielema has as long of a black book as anybody when it comes to finding assistant coaches and people that he's put into the NFL. Speaking of putting people into the NFL, that's also something Illinois has done a good job about over the last 3 or 4 seasons. Again, when it comes to just building a program all together, I just think that no matter what style of program that you have, Bret Bielema will figure out what needs to be done. And when it comes to in-game managing, I don't think anybody had more fourth quarter comeback wins than Illinois last year. And it's one of the things between him and Luke Altmyer. It's if you keep the game close, I'm really confident that Bret Bielema can pull it off. And that's why the answer to this question in particular is, who would I rather build a team around? This is no disrespect to Curt Cignetti. I just don't know if there's anybody in the country I would take over Bret.
Well, it's funny you bring up the idea that Illinois builds off of, 3 stars and a few 4 stars and builds them up. That's exactly what Indiana's having to do too, Sonny. And as we continue previewing Illinois and Indiana coming up on Saturday night in Bloomington, that's what's so fascinating to me about this game. This isn't Ohio State, Oregon. This is not the biggest 5 stars in the country from all 50 states represented on the football field. This is homegrown talent right here. Sure, you may have a player from outside the state here and there, but these are 3-star guys that fit the system, work extremely hard, and have been coached to their ability now. And both of these teams have All-Americans. You have NFL prospects. You've got dudes who are all Big Ten caliber players. And I think both head coaches deserve a ton of credit and respect for that. And that's, to me, Sonny, why this game means so much more to us than maybe to the likes of an Ohio State or an Oregon or a Penn State with the 5-star talent.
You're exactly right. And I think we'll probably dive deeper into this in our actual preview episode. But, Illinois is in the position they are because of the man that they have in charge, someone that we haven't had of this caliber, maybe ever in our program's history. And quite honestly, the same thing goes for Indiana. And that's why these fans are just so supercharged about this game. We both know that this could be arguably, I've said this on Locked On Illini already before, this could arguably be the most important football game for Illinois in over a decade. Not just for what it means this season, because we're going to be talking about, possible playoff implications for either side, right, but also for moving forward and where this is going to place this Indiana and Illinois battle in the hierarchy of the Big Ten moving forward.
Yep, no doubt about it. We continue previewing Illinois and Indiana this Saturday night in Bloomington. We've got coverage for you all week on Locked On Illini and Locked On Hoosiers as well. And we get you ready for a top 20 matchup in Bloomington on Saturday night here on the Locked On Podcast Network.
Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Nappa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with the confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. And welcome back to Locked On. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button on this video. Again, I'm doing this every single day for you guys, especially now that the season has started. And guess what? Basketball is right around the corner. I think, if I recall correctly, Big Ten Media Days for basketball is only about 3 weeks away. It should be in Chicagoland, so I'll absolutely try to be there. Again, that just means more and more things to talk about right here on Locked On Illini. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel. And also, find me on the other channel, Talk Illini. It's a new project I'm working on. Just do @Talk Illini. And you can join me over there for a little bit more long-form conversations. We do that about once a week. I wanted to, obviously this week, I wasn't able to do a segment on what the coaches said, which is a new segment I'm starting, where basically I kind of recap what the Illini coaches are saying in their preview press conferences for each matchup. And I did want to note that I was wrong about something. I really thought that once week 3 was wrapped up, that Curt Cignetti and Bret Bielema would get on that mic, and knowing those two personalities, that they would really go hard at each other. Maybe not hard, but at least deliver a couple jabs here and there, just talking about, because they know how important this game actually is. And it turns out almost the exact opposite has happened. Bret Bielema has shown nothing but class and respect towards Curt Cignetti. He's not downplaying this matchup in any sort of way. He's in fact giving proper respect to Curt and what he's built at Indiana. And Curt Cignetti is doing the same exact thing with Bret Bielema. It's fascinating to me, because I do wonder if there's a side of them that wants to go after the other. But ultimately, I think I understand where this is coming from. Both of these teams, both of these coaches understand the magnitude of this game. If Bret Bielema says something, then all of a sudden, you don't want to give Curt Cignetti bulletin board material for his game. I mean, the game is at Bloomington. Keep in mind, if this game was in Champaign, I would feel a lot more confident that Illinois would come out victorious in this matchup. The fact that it is in Bloomington, as some of you saw my official prediction, I still do think that Illinois is going to win, but I know it's much more of a toss-up, whereas I believe if this game was in Champaign, I'd feel a lot more confident coming into the game. But Curt Cignetti also knows that every time there's a number in front of the college that he's playing up against, well, they've lost. And so sometimes it's easy to talk up a big game when you're playing a rival who's rebuilding, or when you're playing the Indiana Sisters of the Poor college, when you know there's no real chance of you losing. But I think Curt's, in a way, silence on this matter shows that he respects Bret Bielema. He understands that the University of Illinois is going to be a really tough challenge for them, even though they're at home on Saturday. Now, of course, being in the position that I am, it would be more fun to be able to jump on sound bites or snipes back and forth between the two coaches or the two teams. But, I was reading an article about the Indiana Hoosiers. Even the players are saying this is just like any other Saturday. And quite honestly, Bret Bielema has been preaching that all week long. The social media team has been talking about every week, the goal is to go 1-0. That's it. You don't talk about going 4-0. You don't want to be 6-0 going into Ohio State. It doesn't matter. On Sunday morning, you have a job to do, and that's to be ready for your matchup on Saturday. And while the players may be saying this, the coaches might be saying this, the fan base knows that that's not the case, that this game is simply a little bit more important than the others. And I can't wait. On Friday's episode, Jacob and I from Locked On Hoosiers, we do more of a deep dive, true preview of this game. It's nice to hear the other side's opinion. It's like, they don't know as much about the University of Illinois, so I kind of fill him in on that, but also vice versa. And the Indiana Hoosiers obviously have been an incredible story for the last not even 2 seasons, one and less than 1.5 seasons. Let's put it that way. But how did Curt Cignetti do this? And what kind of team are we going to face up against on Saturday? I'll have that for you on Friday's episode. I did want to also mention before I let you go that the University of Illinois announced that REO Speedwagon is coming back to campus, the place where it all began, to lead this year's homecoming. And they're going to be leading the homecoming parade as our grand marshals on Friday, September 26th. That's amazing. That's awesome. I hope we can get the crowd out there for that. It's going to be a huge game against USC on the 27th. I cannot wait. Hopefully it'll be a 4-0 Illinois team. And if it is a 4-0 Illinois team, I'm telling you, that place, Geese Memorial Stadium, is going to be absolutely rocking. I did drop a couple recruiting tidbits if you're a basketball fan in the Talk Illini Discord. I have an update on Sinan Juan and also an update on Mihailo Petrovic and something that might concern Illini fans. Again, if you're interested in that, join our Discord. The link should be in the description, or just send me an email. Send me an email at talkillini@gmail.com, and I can let you know what is going on. Also, make sure you find me on all your favorite social media. So you can do it at Talk Illini or at the Sunny B. I always enjoy conversations with the community. It's another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. That's going to just about wrap it up for today's edition. Again, thank you all so much for stopping by today. On your way out, make sure you've hit that like button. And until next time, ILL. Love you guys.